What was the first language of Sri Lanka? A question that became a battleground in centuries of conflict and ultimately became entangled with a civil war over who came first, the Sinhala or the Tamil. The first language of Sri Lanka remains one of the long-standing questions in South Asian history. But what if the ancient potsherds and inscriptions open a new debate? Anuradhapura, the 2000-year-old capital city of Sri Lanka, provides some of the earliest evidence for the island's first language. The site has yielded more than 100 inscribed pottery fragments dating to the 3rd century BCE, of which around 27 contain readable linguistic terms, 4 bearing Tamil and 23 labeled as Sinhala. But did Sinhala really exist during this period? When the language named Sinhala reached the island as a spoken Prakrit variety, Tamil was an established classical and literary language from the early centuries and was connected to Sri Lanka through trade and settlement. As the two languages remained in contact for centuries, Tamulic languages left a significant phonological imprint on eleyloo Prakrit, including the weakening of aspirated sounds, which contributed to the emergence of Old Sinhala. For about a millennium, even during wars between kings and rulers, political disputes did not lead to ethnic conflicts between Tamil and Sinhala communities. A sharper ethnic conflict emerged in the 13th century, as described in the Kulavansa's account of Kalinga Magha's invasion. Gangaraja, a Kalinga ruler, invaded Sri Lanka during the collapse of the Sinhala kingdom. He arrived with 24,000 soldiers, destroying Buddhist monasteries and displacing political power. The Kulavamsa records the forces as Damila and Kerala, and this historical episode may have contributed to the origins of ethnic conflict. The subsequent emergence of Arya Chakravarti rulers in the north further sharpened these divisions. Over the centuries, this political power struggle paved the way for a language-based conflict, which in the modern era was portrayed as Hindu Tamils versus Sinhala Buddhism. As Sinhala identity became closely associated with Buddhism, early inscriptions and graffiti associated with Sri Lanka's Sramana traditions were incorporated into the history of the Sinhala language and presented as evidence of its antiquity. Those early inscriptions, written in Prakrit, are not records of ordinary Sinhala people, rather, they document donations to religious institutions. Yet Prakrit was not exclusive to Buddhism, it had a wider association with the Sramana traditions, particularly Jainism. Jain presence in Sri Lanka is attested from the 4th century BC. Historically, early Tamil communities also engaged with Sramana traditions, as reflected in Sangam literature. So far, Sri Lankan archaeology records around 4,000 inscriptions. Sinhala inscriptions number in the thousands, while Tamil inscriptions number over 100. This imbalance has been used to support Sinhala's antiquity. However, many early Prakrit inscriptions in Brahmi script are classified as Sinhala and counted as evidence for the language. Excluding these Prakrit inscriptions reduces the surviving inscriptional evidence for Sinhala to only a few hundred records. Sinhala developed its own distinct script only by around the 7th century. Before that, Prakrit was written in Brahmi, while Tamil had its own Tamili script. The history of Sri Lanka's first language begins before Sinhala. The earliest contest was between Tamil and Prakrit, and that opens a new debate.